Hello students, in the previous video we have learnt about the imbibition, one of the phenomenon occurring in plant cells which absorb the water by surface attraction. Now let us start with one more phenomenon which is also responsible for the upward conduction of water along with the mineral salts in case of the plants. Children, I think already you are familiar with the word diffusion. So when we learnt about the functions of capillaries, within the capillaries we find the RBCs which carry the oxygen, and this oxygen you find there is a outward diffusion of oxygen from capillaries into the tissue fluid that surrounds the cells. In the same way, the cells after cellular respiration, they liberate carbon dioxide, and this carbon dioxide also you find the outward diffusion of a carbon dioxide from tissue fluid into the capillaries. So I think I was using this word several number of times. Okay, now let us study about what is diffusion. Children, diffusion occurs in all the three states of matter. So we find the diffusion of solutes, we find the diffusion of solvents, followed by diffusion of gases also. Now let me take up some examples of diffusion of gases which is more rapid. Yes, in case if there is a leakage from your LPG gas cylinder, by chance if there is a leakage from your LPG cylinder, right? So what happens? The molecules escape from the cylinder, they spread in all the directions through the air. Okay, so from your kitchen they enter into your living room, from living room they may enter into all the places available inside your home. So you can say that here the molecules are moving from cylinder to the place where you have no molecules of the liquefied petroleum gas, or you can say in a simple words, the molecules are moving from a region of higher concentration to a region of low concentration. Okay, now when they are in the living room, so from the living room also they may enter into your bedroom. So it means through the air which acts as a medium for the transport of this liquefied petroleum gas, from the living room it may enter into the bedroom. So again it is moving from a region of higher concentration to a region of low concentration. So in a simple words, we call this as a diffusion, or you can say this is an example of a diffusion in case of gases. Children, if you recall, there are a number of examples for the diffusion occurring in the gases, right? In the same way, when mama is burning the camphor in puja room, or when she is burning those incense sticks, agarbatti sticks in the puja room, okay, those molecules escape from the puja room, they enter into your living room, and if you happen to be in the living room, you can experience the smell of the camphor or the smell of the incense stick, because the gaseous molecules are escaping from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. Okay, so thereby you can experience the smell of the camphor or the incense sticks, right? It is not only 2 examples. I think you can list out a number of examples. If any person has, used the perfume in one particular place of your home, and this fragrance of the perfume can be experienced in the other places of your home. It's again, here there is a movement of molecules. There is a molecules of a perfume from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. Fine, children? Okay. Now, let us take some examples of diffusion of solutes in a solvent. Okay. So, these were the examples of diffusion of gases. Right. So, let us take up some examples of diffusion of solutes in a solvent. Yes, children, one of the simple example that you come across in your day-to-day life activity, right? If you take a glass containing water and try to add 2 spoons of sugar crystals, the sugar crystals settle down at the bottom of the container. Okay, after some time, the solute is nothing but the sugar crystals. Solvent is the water. So after some time, if you just leave this container as it is without even touching it or without even stirring it, if you happen to come to the same room after about 2 hours, you will find that you will never find the sugar crystals settle down at the bottom of the container. You would have seen that the solute, the sugar crystals would have dissolved in the solvent, that is in the water. Is that clear? Okay. Maybe in the beginning, if you just take a spoon and then try to taste the water from the upper part, okay, you will see that the water is tasteless. If you taste the same water after about 2 hours without even stirring it, again if you taste the water from the top portion, you will find that the water would have turned sweet in taste because there is a diffusion of sugar crystals in the water, or the molecules of sugar would have dissolved in the molecules of sugar, okay, would have dissolved in between the water molecules, and after some time you will find that you have a homogeneous solution. So any portion of the water you take, you will experience that it is sweet in taste because the sugar crystals have completely dissolved in the water. So you have a homogeneous solution. It's because what is the phenomenon observed here? We find the phenomenon known as a diffusion. Right? So what happens to the sugar crystals? What happens to the sugar crystals? Okay, we'll just observe a small changes with the help of the diagram. Okay, so let us see in 3 different diagrams. Imagine. Okay, now, so in the beginning you may find that sugar crystals are found at the bottom of the container. Okay, after about few minutes you may observe that the sugar crystals have started moving from the bottom of the container to the middle portion. So it means what you are observing, here you are observing the diffusion. So molecules are moving from a region of higher concentration to a region of no concentration in the beginning. So here you don't find any sugar molecules So they are moving from a region of higher concentration to a region of no concentration. So as they start moving towards the other region, okay, now again this region becomes the region of higher concentration. Fine. And if you observe the water molecules which are just above that, then if you consider this becomes a region of higher concentration, and then again you find the molecules moving towards a region of no concentration. Okay, so if you compare the number of molecules here, this region becomes a region of higher concentration, this region becomes a region of no concentration. But if you compare these two regions, that is A followed by B, so here you have more number of molecules, the region of a higher concentration to a region of low concentration. Okay, so after some time you will find that all the sugar molecules get dissolved in the solvent, they scatter throughout the solvent, and you get a sugar solution. Right? So this is an example of a diffusion occurring, in case of a solutes when they come in contact with the solvent. I think there are a number of examples. Right, children? I think recall when we add Bonvita powder to the milk, right? If you stir it, the entire milk turns brown. Again, you can find the dissolution of a solute in a solvent, where the solute is spreading throughout the solvent, producing a homogeneous solution, moving from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. So you can list out a number of examples for solutes dissolving in a solvent. Fine, children. Now let us take an example of a solvent or a liquid, a solvent which dissolves in one more solvent, or a diffusion of solvent in water. Right? Can you just recall a number of examples? Fine. When you add the certain solvents. Yes, children, can you recall? Now take an example. Food dyes. Food dyes. Right? Or any coloring agent. Any coloring agent. It can be your watercolors. Right? So when you add the food dye, which is in a liquid form, into a water, found in a beaker. So when you just add, few drops of the dye, so what happens? Here the molecules of a dye, they start moving towards the middle portion, gradually towards the lower portion, and after some time you can find that they are moving from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration, and after some time the entire solution turns pink in color. So it means it is turning into a homogeneous solution. Right? Okay, so this is one such example of a solvent dissolving in a solvent, or a diffusion of a solvent in water. Diffusion of a solvent in water. Children, let us take an example of okay, ink blue, or you can say the dye that we use it for the clothes. When you just add this, observe, you can find the diffusion. The molecules of blue dye are moving from a region of higher concentration to a region of no concentration in the beginning, again from a no higher concentration to the no concentration, right? So children, observe that the entire solution is turning blue. So you can see that how solvent molecules of the blue dye are uniformly spreading throughout the container. So it means here you can observe the movement of dye molecules from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. What do we call it? As a diffusion. If you want to hasten this process, what should I do? I have to just stir the solution. When you stir the solution, children, you can do this. When you stir the solution, which will hasten the process, when you stir the solution, here you can see that the entire colorless water has changed into a blue color homogeneous solution, which is nothing but diffusion. Children, such diffusion is found in the plants, which helps in the movement of water molecules or the mineral salts from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. Right? Okay. So how do we define the word diffusion? So how do we define the word diffusion? So diffusion is the movement of molecules of a substance. So it can be solutes, it can be solvents, it can be gas, from the region of higher concentration, to the region of lower concentration when two are in direct contact. Or you can say from the region of there is referring to the molecules of sugar or molecules of a blue dye, right? So how do we define the word diffusion? Diffusion is defined as it is a movement of molecules of substance. So it can be the solid state, liquid state or a gaseous state, where I have given a number of examples. It is a movement of maybe gases or a solute in a solvent or one solvent in the other solvent from the region of their higher concentration to the region of their lower concentration, you can say. Right? When both are in direct contact. Children, this last phrase is a very important sentence. If you write everything and miss out this, you will be losing marks. So how do we define the word diffusion? Diffusion is the movement of molecules of a substance, in the brackets, solute, solvent, gas, from the region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration when two are in direct contact. So this is one of the phenomenon which is occurring in plants, which helps in the absorption of water